Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this YouTube channel. It's me again. Lorna is my name. For those who are new here, and we uploaded our first video yesterday, and it really got some good views. And guys, I said this YouTube channel is for us to just share information. Try to bring out some some information that people can actually take up and probably help them uh, to get moving in the tech industry. So as I introduced myself, I said I'm a telecom engineer by profession. That's what I did in campus. And guys, today I want us to talk about how, or rather, getting your first job in the IT field here in Kenya, specifically here in Kenya. Uh, countries can differ, but here in Kenya, having experienced that, looking for the first job, I want us to talk about how can you get your first job after coming from campus. And remember, guys, I said there's some people who are lucky. Not all of us stomach. Not all of us have to struggle to get their first jobs. Some people actually get their first jobs before they're even out of campus. So yeah, that's good for them. But for some of us who need to at least struggle here and there, it's good to just share with one another what someone did. And for this video, I'm actually going to use my experience to let you know, guys, how I got my first job after coming out of campus. And guys, kindly kindly forgive this video because the lighting is so bad. The camera is also not good, but we'll improve as we go by. So guys, how did I get my first job? Yeah, so this is the story. Remember, guys, I said I studied telecommunication, and when I was in campus, I didn't know so much. I was so much focused on passing my exams. I didn't, like get into knowing other things that could have probably helped me to get my job fast enough. Because guys, you remember I said I came from the village. I didn't have so much information, and even in campus, I wasn't this kind of a person who talk a lot or maybe hang out with people so much. I was so much by myself, and so what I only knew is that I have to pass my exams. So I kind of really focused on passing, and I didn't give so much attention on some of the things that could have actually helped me to maybe come out here and be better than maybe some other people. So for example, guys, there's so many things that were introduced in the course, like programming, networking. But for me, somehow, I didn't really think that they were going to be important out here. And that's one thing that I feel like, looking back right now, I should have done better. And so if you're in campus, I'm really encouraging you not to just focus on your specific or on your main course. Kindly try and expand your knowledge. If it's about if you're introduced to something like networking, get to know better. What is networking? How is networking implemented here? Because guys, out here, networking is everywhere. Like every organization they have computers, they have to talk to each other, talk to the internet, share information with other companies. For example, there's networking everywhere. Try to find out more information about some things that you get introduced in campus. Don't just focus on the particular course you're doing and forget that there's some other things that can actually be the add-ons that I was talking about yesterday that can actually help you a lot when you come out here. So there's some people even did some certifications back in campus. There's some people who did, things like Cisco certificates, you know, there was certain certificates in IT that were called what I can't remember, it's C something. Yeah, some people did that, but for me, I didn't do any of that, and so coming out of campus and now I'm here and I want a job and I only have my degree in telecommunication and with the idea that nitatoka nje nipate job na kina Safaricom and like man, it was hard and remember I said I called a friend of mine who was he had already gotten a job, like I think 2 months after we came out of campus, and he told me, you know what, you need to know more, not just what you have in your degree. You need to know more. So for me, guys, when I talk about I focused on telecommunication, I actually mean telecom, because remember the course was actually called electronics, electrical and telecommunication. There was a lot of electrical courses, but for me, I used to feel so good when when we have the specific classes for telecom. I felt like this is it. So that was kind of wrong for me, but I didn't really know much. So for someone who is watching this video, kindly expand your knowledge. Kindly expand your knowledge, because there are even some people who did telecom, but they end up in the fields of electrical. Yeah, because they had broadened their minds, not to just focus on the specific major. Yeah. So I'm out here. I need a job. I just have my degree certificate, and I'm like, now what? Where even am I going to start? And so calling my friend, that friend of mine, he told me if I have time, I can go to his place, and he can actually give me some guidance on the things that I can do to better myself, and not just have my degree, because my degree for telecommunication just wanted me to go to a company like SAF or telecom. But if I knew other things, like if I had programming, if I had skills in programming, or if I had skills even in system administration, that could have been I could have easily looked for a job in other IT fields. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So I went to him. Sorry guys, I have a bit of cold. I went to him, and he actually asked me to go with a flash disk for video notes. So I mean, for videos on some of some technology. So I went with a flash disk, and he gave me like so many videos on networking, specifically Cisco, and he also gave me a lot of videos on Linux, starting to learn Linux. Yeah. So I went back. At least at that time, I had borrowed a laptop because I was doing some online writing, those academic writing. So I needed to have a laptop at least to survive. And so I have these notes, a lot of videos, and I'm like, you know what? If this ones will help me to get a job, then I'm working on them. And so I took them so much seriously. I studied the courses, and I was not just studying. I made sure that I did some, practical work, just watching the videos and also doing it practically. So when it comes to networking, he also introduced me to this tool called GNS3. GNS3. It's a simulator for network, and I used it niliva hiyo kitu. Like I could simulate a network, a typical network, put a switch somewhere, a firewall somewhere, have some PC somewhere, and actually ensure that the traffic is going through. And so it was really nice for me. It really came handy because, like 2 months down the line, I was feeling like I can crack these networks. And also when it comes to Linux, because I already had a laptop, I had borrowed a friend, and I wanted to learn this Linux, and I was like, I can't uninstall someone else's Windows operating system to put a Linux operating system, yet he can come for it anytime. So what I did for that is that's when I came to know virtualization. Yeah, so I installed VirtualBox. I hope you guys know VirtualBox. VirtualBox is just an application that you can install on your laptop to help you to create virtual computers on your computer. Yeah, you get the point. Like it virtualizes, it abstracts your computer's resources to enable you to have other computers on your computer. You get they're called virtual machines because they're virtual, they're not real. So with those virtual machines, you can actually run any operating system. And so I installed some two Linux virtual machines, and that's when I now started practicing Linux. So it was more hands-on, and I really appreciated him because he introduced me to such. And you know what I did? I actually added them on my CV. Yeah, I felt like I had enough experience to actually add those things on my CV. Yeah, I did. I added on my CV, and I used to apply for so many jobs. If I could see a job that's somehow related to IT, apply it, apply it. So, when time went by, me studying these things that my friend was giving me, I was actually adding them on my CV. Like I added networking as a skill, things like subnetting, VLANs. I added them there on my CV because I felt like I had done a lot of practice, such that I was so confident that if I asked a question in an interview, I was going to answer. So I had networking and Linux skills on my CV. Now, apart from the normal things about this is what I did in campus, because at that time I wasn't working, so it was just looking for skills here and there. And so, guys, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can you can you add something you're reading on your CV? Are you confident enough to add something you're reading on your CV? For me, I feel like I was so confident because, especially because I had done a lot of, a lot of hands-on practice on those things. Like using that tool for networking, for example, that GNS3, it actually simulates the real network. Of course, there are other higher level configurations that it may not support, but for a person coming from campus, that was enough for me to say I have I have experience. So I had them in my CV. And so, guys, remember, I'm still applying for jobs even as I'm studying and doing my online writing. I'm still applying for jobs. And so this day I saw this advert about a sales engineer, and I applied. I was like, I can apply for this, because I was applying for anything that has IT or engineering there. So I was like, this sales engineer thing, I can do it. Remember, this is the first job you're looking for. You're not discriminating on any job. You just want to get in the market, and from there you can push your way on. So I applied for that job, and I was called for an interview somewhere in Westlands. And I remember going there, feeling like I wasn't really sure about myself. But then one thing I know is that I had to be confident. And that's something that has really been helping me when I go for interviews. Like, confidence for me, top notch. Like, talk like you already know them, yeah. So that's another thing. Have confidence when you're going for an interview. Don't behave like you're not sure of what you're saying. Say something, even if it's wrong, say with confidence, yeah. So so I went there for that interview, and I met a guy who was also coming for the same interview, and we were talking outside because there was someone who was already being interviewed inside. So while we were talking there outside, I asked him, "So are you also coming for a sales engineer interview?" He said, "No, I'm coming for a system admin." No, what was it? It was a database, yeah, DBA, a DBA interview. So I was like, oh, so I was just telling myself, maybe the company is employing people in different fields. So there could be someone who will be doing sales, and now this other guy will be doing database administration. So I didn't really care. I was like, oh, okay, me, I'm going for sales engineer. So he went before me, did this interview. He came out and told me, the interview wasn't bad. So it was my turn to go in, and I went in. I was like, the normal things, tell us about yourself, and I did tell about myself. And the next question was, what do you understand by relational databases? And I was like, I thought I came for a. So it clicked on my mind that probably this is what the interview is all about. It's not the sales engineer thing. It is about the database administrator. And so I didn't have like I didn't expect it. So for some 2 seconds, I think I froze, and then of course I was like, you know what, we're doing this. We are doing this whenever I didn't expect, and I don't have so much knowledge about these databases and everything. We're still doing this. So I answered those questions like crazy. I don't even know whether I was giving the right answers, but I was trying to recall about the course that we did when I was in second year in relational databases. So that was kind of helping me to answer the questions, but I knew most of my answers were actually wrong. So I finished the interview. I remember there were two guys. They were really nice. They were really friendly. And at the end of the interview, I got my results there. And the guy was like, "Oh, Lorna, this one, you didn't answer well. You didn't answer well, to be honest." I was like, "It's okay." But then I felt like I really wanted to cry, because for real, I knew I didn't answer well. And also because this is not what I was coming for. I was so much prepared for something else, because I had read the job description for the sales engineer, and that was what I'd prepared myself for. So coming here to be asked questions about a database administrator, I wasn't prepared for that. But I tried my best to answer those questions. So I got my results at the end of the interview, and the guys were like, "Hey, Lorna, this this one you didn't answer well." But what he told me is, we really like your personality. And that's another thing, guys. When you go for an interview, just present yourself well. Be confident. Give the best of yourself. Even if the interview is hard, give the best of yourself. Answer the questions in a I don't know what to say, like in a in a well structured manner. Your presentation has to be good, even if you've realized that this is not what you're coming for, but at least show that you can actually try and answer their questions in a nice way. So they told me that because of my personality, they really liked me, and so they can do something for me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for that. So they told me I can actually come. This was actually a small company. It was like a capacity building company. Like they were looking for people to come and study there, and also looking for people who could train those people who are going to study. So they told me that if you don't mind, come for our classes. We can teach you programming and database administration. And on top of that, we'll be giving you 10,000 shillings every month. So you don't pay for the classes, and we also give you 10,000 on top every month. I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm in for this, because I'm going to get to learn programming, databases, and I'm being given 10,000 per month. After all, I wasn't doing anything. So that was a very good chance. And that's only because they liked my personality. That was really nice. I felt so good. And I started going for their classes. And on top of that, the guy told me, remember, he didn't know me. I didn't know him. He told me that because of how you are, if we find someone who's looking for a starter, an entry level IT job, we'll actually refer you. And yes, they told me that. And I thought maybe it's just ni kusema tu. Ni kunihurumia juu washaniambia hapo umefail. But guess what? They did exactly that. So stay tuned in for the next part. See you.